my damn computer to work at all. I don't know. And then I text my wife. I was like, what do I do? And then it just started freaking working. So I don't know what was going on with it. So what have you been up to, dude?
Oh, just training my butt off.
Healthy?
Yeah, feel great, healthy. Just suffering these last week, trying to cut this weight nice and easy.
How's that going?
I'm at 53 right now.
Right.
So I'm hoping to wake up 51, 52 tomorrow.
Yeah.
And cut the last 4, 5, 6 pounds.
Yeah, you don't cut a lot though, right?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, this kid's coming down from 194.
Yeah, I seen that.
And then because like Summer does a weigh-in check.
Yeah.
And she sent him a photo because he didn't post it on I was like, where's he at? And she's like, oh, he says he's at 150. I was like, there ain't no fucking way.
No.
Ain't no way you're losing fucking 30, 40 pounds in 8 weeks. There's just no way.
No, and that's not too healthy either. I mean, if you think about it in that aspect, so you see that in, like, even in high school wrestling, like the kids that, high school wrestlers, a lot of time what they do is they'll lie about it. You know what I mean? That's not really lie, but they don't want to tell coach the bad news. Like, hey, I'm really 5 or 10 pounds over. You know what I mean? I'm close. But then it always comes out in a wash, like wrestling day. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can tell how they're looking. You can usually tell somebody's face, like, oh, this dude cut a lot of weight. You know what I mean? He's
sunk in. They're miserable.
Yeah.
It's hard to pretend you're happy when you're dehydrated.
You can't be
sucked
happy.
Up and have to go perform at a high level against somebody that's trying to take your head off. Especially in wrestling. You know how those guys, they want you on your back.
I could tell, like, when I was in high school, like, I didn't know what was going on. But even if I cut too much weight, my anxiety would get real bad.
Like, because in your head, you're like, oh, I'm going to be tired. I know I didn't cut it right. Like, that's why I say, like, you beat yourself sometimes whenever you don't diet properly and all that stuff. Because in the back of your head, you're like, oh, fuck, I cut too much. I'm going to be tired. And then all that positive affirmation that you're supposed to be doing went out the window because now you're like, I'm not going to do good because I didn't cut weight properly. I'm tired. I'm weak. Right. Like, I hate that weak feeling, like when you just get done and you're like, you finally got the sun and you're like, I don't think like I could fight it all right now,
Yeah, man, it's different. Like, a lot of people don't look at it that way though, like the mental aspect of cutting weight too, because, you lose all that weight. And then, like I said, like, it used to mess my anxiety up and I didn't even realize I was too young to know what was going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people don't look at it that way because when you're anxious, man, you make all kinds of bad decisions.
Yeah. Like, when we were growing up, that really wasn't a word or a feeling that was thrown around too much.
No.
You didn't hear about anxiety or, things like that. And just the mental wokeness of this generation, it allows these younger kids to be more in tune with the mental health as opposed to we were just like told to suck it up and be a man. And now these young kids are like, hey, you might be anxious or anxiety, and like, what the hell's that mean?
Anxiety, what is that?
Yeah, the first time I ever fucking probably felt anxiety was there was a storm coming. My son was just born, me and my buddies used to be the storm chasers. Like, let's go find the tornado. But as soon as my son was born, I saw the wind blowing, the trees start laying down. I was like, we're getting in the car. We're driving out of town till the storm's over. I can't have my son in this. And I drove to Duncan, got some Don Jose's. Wait till the storm passed, and we drove back home safe. It made me nervous, and I was just like, I got to get my son to safety quickly. It's not a game anymore.
Yeah. I remember that feeling too, when we had kids and storms, you know what I mean? It quickly passed though, because my wife, being from Oklahoma, this is crazy to me, right? Being from Oklahoma, I've never seen a woman freak out so bad in her life when there's anything that even resembles a tornado. It gets bad, dude. And I'm freaking out too, but I just kind of hold it in. You know what I mean? It's just like,
well, as the man, you got to be like, all right, I got to be the calm one if everyone's freaking out. So it looks like somebody's in control.
Yeah, and I really don't. Sometimes you just got to roll the dice, bro. But right there, that's so there's our pantry right there. The room next door is supposed to be the safe room of the house. So if there's a tornado, that's where you're supposed to go.
Cool.
Heather she have everything taken out, flashlights in there, blankets, kids will be in there chilling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah, my son's really into it. He watches on YouTube top 10 tornadoes and he can quote them all off. You know, this one's F3, this one's F5, this one was in Shawnee, this one was in Moore. And he's obsessed with them until they're close. And then, you know, when that one just came and everyone got that hail damage, we were inside of an Easy Go because it looked like baseballs were falling out of the sky of ice. And then the Easy Go people, we pulled in to get some coverage and they're like, hey, come inside, there's a tornado. And that Easy Go, you can see all the storefront all the way around. And we saw like just the wind going around in a circle. And then we went to the freezer and it was quite an intense experience.
Dude, I just seen you remember the classic movie Twister, right?
Yeah.
I just seen they was making a part 2. I think I seen they was filming in Chickasha.
Yeah, they're gonna be filming here in Oklahoma. Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah. And they was filming like conveniently around all them tornadoes and hail damage was going on. You know what I mean? We get lucky out here. I don't knock on wood.
Yeah,
but we've been really lucky. Like every time Elgin has been like I say lucky. Like I've had to replace my roof a few times because of hail damage, but it's been nothing like windows breaking in. When we got real bad in Elgin, we never got.
I think that mountain range, like that wind hits that mountain range, it kind of slows it up, and then it picks back up after it hits that mountain range, and it hits more almost every time. So I think that mountain range kind of slows that down a little bit. Maybe I'm not a meteorologist, I don't know, just my own personal theory. But then it gains a whole lot of momentum after it gets over those mountains, and it crushes more almost every time. Man.
I know, dude. What was that?
My phone.
Oh, that's cool. I was making shots. Man, I heard gunshots. It's been a while. But I come on leave. Like, when was the last one they had? The big tornado they had that went through Moore? What year was that?
I can't remember the year, but it was really bad. I do remember that.
Yeah, cause I come home on leave and we went up there and helped out. I'm trying to think when that was. It was a while ago, I guess. Thank God, you know. But man, it was bad, dude. Like they had this farmer was showing me he had like 200-year-old pecan trees that was just sucked over, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, and he said the way he explained it to me is like the tornado didn't even touch it. It was just the suction coming from the tornado just sucked it over.
Yeah.
And like, man, it was wild. But he was explaining it to me, and he said, you know, the craziest thing about this is these pecan trees have been in my family, like on my family property for all the years. We have a tornado, and as soon as we have a tornado and sucked them over, I've already had multiple people come out here and offer to buy them trees off and make some of the wood.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I don't know how to take that.
Yeah.
You know, are you mad? Because I don't know. I feel like I'm mad for you, you know?
Yeah, take my family traditional trees and cut them up and burn them. Smoke some briskets with them, I guess.
I think he said something about the last part. It was they make musical instrument out of them or something like that.
Didn't know that. I do know they like to smoke a lot of food with pecan. But.
Oh, yeah. That's always good. I got a little bit of pecan outside, actually. That's what I like to use a little, you know, pecan wood, but mostly I cook with hardwood, though. You like smoking any food?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
What's your go-to?
Pork butt. It's the easiest one to do. One Thanksgiving, I smoked a pork butt all night, like 8 hours, like through the whole night because I got out of training late. So it's like midnight till like 3 or 4 in the morning. So I took a little nap. I woke up and I went to move my apple because I'll put some like apple juice, a tray of apple juice and some butter and let it, you know, steam into the meat. And like I tipped it over and it went into the bottom part of the smoker and the big flames came up. And it's like 3 in the morning. I'm half asleep, burn my eyebrows off. I was like, God damn. I was like, this better be the best pork butt because I wanted to make pork butt stuffing and like stuff the turkey with it. So then after we cooked the turkey, that smoky flavor would come through from the inside, and it was delicious. But it did cost me my eyebrows. So.
Yeah. I've never heard of that stuffed turkey with pork butt. The best pork butt I ever made, I did on accident. I forgot about it. My neighbor actually, he was a captain in the military. I think he just got promoted to major. And I mean, anyways, it was PCS, and so he had to move, right? He's like, dude, I got this pork butt in there, dude. If I got 2 of them, will you smoke them? I'll let you have one. I'm like, done deal. So I went out there, got the smoker set up, started cooking them. I forgot all about it. Forgot all about it, man. And again, I mean, luckily, it turned out just the best one I had, dude.
Hell yeah. I love it because the next day I'm making pulled pork tacos. I'm doing pulled pork enchilada. You get so much meat out of it. You get meals for days. So. Yeah,
so that was about, I didn't, it wasn't an all-night cook, though. It cooked for about 12 and a half hours, I'd say. And then at the 6-hour mark, I went out and checked the fire. It was smoking good, put some new wood in it. And at that point, I forgot about it, man, and just kept rolling, dude. It kept
12
rolling.
hours is a long time, so that probably came out beautifully.
Yeah, it was good though. It was really good, man. And I was surprised. I was like, oh man, I done messed it. 'Cause I was talking trash too, dog. I was like, oh yeah, dude, I got you. I've cooked thousands of these. You know what I mean? Over exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I done ruined this dude's stuff, man. He's moving. He's gonna tell his buddies about this for the rest of his life.
Yeah, these Oklahoma boys can't smoke.
Yeah, and I just ruined it. And nah, but it turned out good though. It was really good.
Hell yeah.
He really liked it. Oh, so back to the fight, dude. How many when it comes to the fight card, how many actual fights are going to be on the fight card?
I think there's 15 total, and 2 of them are grappling matches. One of my coaches is grappling on the card. He's a really high-level grappler. His name's Shelby Anderson. He owns Goose Reapers as well. So if you want to duck hunt, goose hunt, crane hunt when the season hits, he has a guide service out by Rocky, Oklahoma. Then you will definitely be killing some ducks. I work for him out there in the season. I'm the duck cleaner, so I get to be covered in blood and ripping hearts and throwing them up against the wall and watching them slide down. It's just a really bloody job, but it's a savage job, and I like it. You know, I'm a city boy, so it feels good to go out there and like learn about, you know, wildlife type stuff and get your hands dirty, you know, because one day you might have to survive, and you got to have the stomach to slaughter some animals and have the stomach to clean them and know what you can and can't eat off of the birds. And so it's a very interesting job. So, you know, shout out to him. Yeah, he's fighting, he's grappling a guy, another brown belt from AMA Academy, where I just fought the last fight, King Coulter from. I think my coach is going to easily dominate, maybe finish him out in the first round just because he's that good. But we'll see, man. I got one teammate, Ben Lucas, fighting on the card. Another teammate, Dante Johnson from AMP down in Wichita Falls. Exciting young kid. He's getting moved to the back of the card because he's lighting people up. So I'm excited to watch those kids. There's a lot of young kids on the card that I don't know. The next generation's coming in strong. Yeah. So looking forward to seeing a lot of these young kids and see what they got in store, you know, because eventually they might come up to Swisher's level and might have to beat them up. So.
There's one of Elgin's, he used to wrestle for us. I think he left when he was a junior or a sophomore, went to Lawton, but he, Livingston, he's fighting on that card as well. So it should be interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's always interesting that first fight. You know, you want to see what, not only just what their skills are, because, you know, everyone can be a bad motherfucker in the gym, but put those bright lights on somebody and throw them out there in front of their friends and family, and it's definitely a game changer, you know. Yeah. So that's why I started that tough man first. I was like, I can move pretty good. I can do what I need to do, but can I do it when there's a whole lot of added pressure, you know? Like they say, like public speaking is like the number one fear for most people.
Right.
Try public fighting, you know. I think it's a little bit more intense, you know, because nobody wants to get beat on in front of their mom, dad, sister, girlfriend, 100%. Brothers, and stuff. So
a lot of people look at that though. They're like we talked about anxiety a little bit earlier. You know what I mean? But that's one of them things. Like some people are like they just beat themselves up before they even get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I try to use adversity, anxiety, everything as fuel. Like like sometimes I like shit doesn't go my way, and I can easily be like, shit didn't go my way. This happened, that happened. That's why I lost, you know, but I choose to say, you know what, this is going to make my victory that much sweeter. Pour that shit on. Give me everything you got, you know, because I'm still going to come out and I'm still going to whoop ass. I'm still going to win. And it just makes my victory that much sweeter to be like, yo, man, this happened. And I still pulled the shit off. I don't use it as like, oh, this shit's happening to me. What am I going to do? You know, I can't concentrate. I can't focus. I'm like, dude, nothing's ever going to be perfect. So just go out there and do what you got to do. It's the bottom line.
So as far as training goes and stuff like that, you know, we talked a little bit about your training last time. So now, you know, this close out to the fight, can you talk a little bit like, you know, about your training process, stuff that maybe you did different or something that you feel like you've done so good you had to keep doing it?
My last hard day was last Friday, and just maintaining health and getting my body to the healthiest it can be while still sweating, trying to maintain this weight cut. I got to slowly drop down. I don't like to cut a lot. So I always try to cut 3 to 4 pounds max.
Right.
And I'm on target for that. I just got to, 2 more days of suffering, We got tonight. Might have a small meal tonight. I haven't ate anything today. And we're on to it. Our first thing in the morning, I'll be heading over to the YMCA. They got a nice big sauna for me, and be over there sweating with some of my teammates. So,
dude, I got one in the garage right now.
Oh, yeah.
We did it up for you.
Dude, one time my brother Bubba was fighting at a Bellator in Thackerville, and we missed the bus to the sauna because they didn't have a sauna at the time. And he's like, dude, what are we going to do? I was like, bro, it's like 110 outside. I was like, just go put your sauna suit on, go sit out in the car. We were done in like 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's like, just roll the windows up. You already know how they talk about don't leave your kid in the car.
Yeah.
Which is also a crazy story. A woman did that the other day, left her baby in the store while she went to Walmart, and then she started freaking out because the baby, she locked her keys in the car, and she's like, will you come bust my window out? And I was like, if you're okay with it, I will accommodate you.
Matter of fact.
So yeah, I busted her window out and got the baby to safety and stuff. So.
How old was the baby? Like baby?
Yeah, infant baby.
Oh, wow. That's to be terrifying, man, because you hear about stuff like that. You know, people.
The baby was in there all freaking out, you know, and it's super, super hot. And I'm like, you shit. I was like, as soon as the cops come, you're going to probably get in trouble. You know what I mean? But yeah, brand new car too. So.
How'd you break the window?
I had a hammer in the back of my truck, okay. So yeah, I didn't want to punch it, break my hand.
No, that's what I was asking.
But yeah, I just whacked it with the hammer one time, and I was like, that didn't work. And then I was like, I guess we gotta swing harder. Second time was the charm. Boom. Busted in, they got in there, and I was like, I'm not sticking around for the police, so I'll see y'all later. So.
In Army, I went to this SEER school is what it is, survive, escape, resist, and evade. It's but they teach you how to pick locks, break out of handcuffs, padlocks, break windows. But when I was growing up, I had there was always a thing like you could throw a spark plug at the window and break it, right? And my dumb ass, I just thought it was because there was electrical charge to the spark plug or something, but it's really just the porcelain, right?
Yeah.
The porcelain on the spark plug. So that's one of the first things that they started talking to us about. Just a little piece of that and throw the window and just breaks the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I always knew about that. You just go up there and tap it and it'll shatter that. Tempered glass, easy.
Who's the professional? There was a professional wrestler back in the day that legit messed his hand up. So he thought he was so tough he could break a window. I want to say it was Goldberg or something, but there was a skit, right, where he was, he was going to go in and he's supposed to break this window, right? So he was like, I can just break the window. And he really legit messed his hand up because, they just don't break that easy.
No, tempered glass is a special kind of glass. It's like heated to a certain temperature. That's what makes it spider web instead of like plate glass. Plate glass shards when it breaks into big chunks can cut you. Yeah. So like for like commercial, my dad was a glass man for 30 years. That's how I know. So in like commercial windows where like huge shards could cut you in half or something like that, they usually replace everything with tempered glass. So if it breaks, it shatters into a million pieces, so nobody gets cut or loses a limb or anything like that. But it's in the center of the window. It's always super hard. You can punch it. It can withstand like 10 times the amount of pressure as regular plate glass.
Right.
But if you tap the edges, it'll spider web. So it's weak on it's and it's the exact opposite with plate glass. You can tap the edges, but if you tap the center, it'll bust a lot easier. It's just really weird.
Yeah, that's wild. Did you ever watch? Was it Fun Factor with was it Rob Dyrdek?
Yeah.
You see the episode where he walked through the glass window?
Yeah.
I'm still suspect about that, but I've always told myself if I'm in an opportunity to try that, I would try it. You know what I mean? I got my own right here, but I don't want to pay for that shit.
Yeah, those big glasses are expensive.
Yeah, but that was a cold episode, though. I mean, dude, that was a fun show in general, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember there was like another one, too, where you had to like run through a bunch of them, it was like some type of contest show, and you had to bust through all this glass.
So what do you think about the new season of The Ultimate Fighter? You been keeping up with it?
Yeah, I actually have. I think I'm an episode behind. I haven't seen the one where Connor's finally won a match, But, it can be like that when you got people that have never been into that high level and a bunch of guys that have already been there, and then now they're so hungry to get back. They were good enough to achieve it in the first place, then they kind of lost it, because some people can get complacent sometimes. They achieve what they thought was their dream, getting to the UFC, and then they kind of got complacent. You got to build off that dream. The dream has to keep growing in order for you to stay hungry. You can never get complacent, and those guys that made it there were like, I got to make it back and do it right this time. So I think the vets had a edge because they had already been there and competed at such a high level, where these young and up and coming guys, undefeated 7-8-0 in a regional circuit, it's a lot different, fighting, straight killers. Because if you're in the UFC, you got to be a killer.
Yeah.
So.
I like the, do you remember back in the day when they first started, like if you lost, you went home? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so what do you think the mentality's like inside the house? You as being a fighter, if you had to be trapped in the house, win or lose, you know what I mean, but you're still there, what's the mentality you think for them young fighters?
To me, I would be like, okay, I lost, my time is, I'm not going to make it, but what I can do is still get this awesome coaching that I'm getting. Right. I can still grow as an athlete, still learn. Sometimes things don't go your way, and like we were talking about earlier, it's up to you to choose how you handle that. You can make it a positive experience, or you can make it a negative experience. And a lot of those guys get fights in the UFC still just because, they either had a good fight or they, there's a lot to being a martial artist other than just fighting. And I tell my guys all the time too, I'm like, just because you competed already and your stuff's over doesn't mean that you get to take a break, because we have other guys that have stuff coming up. We're a team. So even after I'm done fighting, I hop right back in the gym because my guys have things and I need to be there for them. So they need bodies and good work. And so it's like it's an individual sport. You climb in that cage alone, but it takes a whole team to get you there.
Right.
So if I had lost, my mentality would be like, well, I'm going to help my teammate win and get the victory. Like I still want to make a positive appearance, still want to learn from those coaches, because you can learn from everybody. You don't have to like somebody or get along with them to respect them or learn from them. Like I've had coaches that I didn't like them as a person, but I respected their gifts and their qualities as a fighter. And I was like, you know what, I can push my how I personally feel aside to learn from this person and grow my skills. So those are world-class coaches you're getting. So it's cool to have your own home team and get and learn from them. But sometimes it's also a plus to pick other brains and look at other different. There's 1,000 ways to do an armbar. There's 1,000 ways to do a guillotine, and if you can learn, even half of those from your coach, and then learn the other half from here or there. That's why I like to cross train and get other looks. And my coaches are all about it because they know it's good to learn it all. Like the sport of MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, even wrestling, it's forever evolving. These young up-and-coming kids are super athletic, and they're inventing new takedowns. They're inventing new submissions. So it's something that you can just constantly, I'll be learning for the rest of my life. Even when I'm a black belt, even when I'm a professor or, head coach, I'll still have a lot to learn myself. So it's a journey that never ends. Because people are evolving. You see crazy new chokes, new setups, new takedowns. Like I have kids that come from our wrestling program in Lawton, MAC wrestlers, Eisenhower wrestlers. Right. Well, not too many Eisenhower wrestlers. A lot of. But they come in and they show me stuff, different setups to takedowns and things that I didn't even know. And I'm getting shown by a 17-year-old kid, and I'm 40. So I'm like, all right, always have an open mind and always be willing to learn, and be humble, because you never know. So I always have that respect and always have an open mind to learn. You can learn it. That's how Van Damme said in Bloodsport. Never limit yourself to one style,
Yeah. Dude, that was a classic movie, bro.
Oh, man, I love it. I watch it all the time. I try to make my son watch one 80s movie a week, because it was like a different era where like those movies inspired you to want to be the hero, want you to be the man, want you to like, it shows like them usually getting their ass kicked in the beginning, them training hard, and then them coming back and winning, and I just don't see a lot of movies for young men these days that are like that. So
what was was at the beginning of it when he just gets to like the Kumite, right? And like he has to prove his lineages, and was it the death touch, right?
Yeah, Democ, he wanted
the Democ, yeah, that's what it was. He's like, you got to break this brick, and he's like, no, this one,
the bottom one, yeah. Death touch, and that's like some crazy shit. I don't know how accurate that was. I just watched the deal this morning about the real Frank Dukes and what a hoax he was, and all that. He made up a bunch of shit about he was in the CIA and did this tournament where he had like 56 knockouts in a row, and like just the stats were just.
Dude, I'm so mad you're telling me this.
Pretty unbelievable.
I was willing to just die thinking that was just legit.
Yeah, it's.
So hold on, wait, hold on, man. I was about to watch this movie in the day. So So you telling me you watched something that was Frank Dukes he wasn't legit?
Yeah, where they had exposed everything that he claimed. Like he was like, because in the Bloodsport movie, they went to Hong Kong to fight in the Kumite. Well, in real life, he said that he went to like one of the Caribbean islands and entered this secret tournament, and his sensei was Tiger Tanaka. Well, they found out Tiger Tanaka was just a dude out of a James Bond novel. He never existed. He didn't die. And he said he went to Japan and they made him a ninja and he had like 7 different black belts, and like they just went down the rabbit hole and they're like, okay, we found out we've
Where'd
exposed
you see
this
on, dude?
I will find it on Facebook. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the link.
Dude, you're ruining my life right now, bro.
Dude, I wasn't happy about it neither, but I was just like, man, it's not. This is the 2024. You can't lie anymore. People will go down the internet is a black hole of information. So they'll find out what you were doing, how you were doing it, what if you said a name, they will fact check it and they will find your ass out. So don't lie, people.
Dude, when I was so my dad, so we lived in he lived in this town called Glover, Oklahoma, dude. It's McCurtain County, but it's a small town. Like you drive by, there's a store is called North Post Store, and there used to be a store called South Post Store on the other end. So me and my dad would walk there to because they had rental movies, VHSs. And I can remember going out there and getting Bloodsport, and there was another one. Was it Kickboxer?
Yeah, Kickboxer
with Tom Poe.
Yep.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, I can remember going out there and getting these and renting these movies with my dad, dog. And it's so like at the time, you're little, you're not really thinking about it, it's just. I remember my dad just, acting shit out like he was karate too and shit. He's like, I kicked the hell out of somebody. My dad was in a wreck, so he had pins in his arm and stuff. Uh-huh. So he's like, yeah, ever since my wreck, I'd just soon kick somebody, And I remember my dad telling me this stuff, right? And then, and so I got older, and I had a buddy I met in Clarksville, Tennessee, and he told me Frank Dukes. He's like, that's a real person, right? And I was like, no way, he's not real. Then I started looking up, and he was real. So I was like, dude, that was based on a true story. And then now you're ruining my life.
Yeah, I'm sorry, brother, but damn, that's how it goes sometimes, man.
No, you're right.
We find out a lot of our legends and like of our old school heroes really wasn't shit. We're like, hey, wait a minute, this dude was beating his wife and doing all this crazy shit. Maybe he wasn't the best role model for me growing up, but.
No, it is tough though. Like when you find out some shit like that about somebody, like yeah,
or like Steven Seagal, and they were talking about Steven Seagal, how he made sure in every single one of his movies that he never lost a fight, beat him by a significant margin, and then obviously in real life, like when he went to help some of the MMA guys like Anderson Silva and stuff, they were like, they were. Giving him, a little bit of feedback and stuff, but they were like, yeah, he doesn't know shit, man. He's just making shit up.
I think the biggest one he did was when he did something with Lyoto Machida, right? Yeah. When the crane kid.
Yeah, and he was like, I taught him that, and then he went out there and kicked this dude, knocked him out.
It was Randy Couture,
yeah.
Did he knock Randy Couture out with that?
Bro, yeah, because no one has ever been doing that before Steven Seagal.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild, man. Who was somebody else that he worked with, but they showed like in the previews or something that he was in there, and they was like, "No, you got to kill the cameras, turn the cameras off." He was really private about it. But
I seen a deal, and it was talking about how Steven Seagal and Van Damme almost fought one time. It was like at a Sylvester Stallone party or something like that, and Steven Seagal wouldn't do it or whatever because they were both like, you know what, people calling us fake, we'll do this, but he's like, let's just get it then, and. Swisher was like, yeah, so Steven Seagal didn't want no smoke. So,
what is his style of fighting though? Like
Aikido or something like that? Yeah. Which I fought an Aikido fighter before. It's just not very realistic for combat.
I know that isn't that like a specific? I could be getting my facts wrong. But it's that style of fighting wasn't it for like disarming people off horseback or something?
Yeah, they think they can use like your momentum against you and like land you into some weird throw or some weird lock that just people don't like when they demonstrate it. That person's not resisting, Yeah. So like if you grab my arm, I'm just gonna pull it back and I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna let you wrap up any of that stuff. If we're on the ground, I could understand how something like that could happen because there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to move. But if you're standing up and you try to grab my arm and some shit, I'm just gonna retract and move back. I'm not gonna let you get my momentum coming forward and flip me and throw me. It's kind of like that Krav Maga shit, you know. It's just kind of like, you know, I don't know how realistic it is for, you know, because I've had over the years multiple dudes, you know, it being a military town with people coming from all over the world, and they'll stop in the gym and they're like, oh, I do Krav Maga, or I do judo, or I do Aikido, or this, I got a black belt in this, and then you just wax them like it ain't shit, and you're like, yeah, that shit's bullshit.
So we got this kid named Rylan Hitt, dude. He former 2-time state champion from Elgin. I think he won third sophomore, champion his junior, and champion his senior year, right? Nice. And so he was at heavyweight, right? So we've been doing open gym on Tuesdays for wrestlers, for the wrestlers and stuff. And it's really for anybody if they want to come out there and they're interested in it. But he shows up. I mean, he's like, he used to have to cut to make heavyweight, right? And heavyweight's 285. Now he's like 270, bro. He goes to school at OSU. Oh, wow. And he said he told me that he's been looking into MMA. He's been going and doing some MMA courses. I was like, dude, let me know when you're ready, dude. I know some people, dude. He was like,
for sure.
Who you talks like, dude? I know Tyson Southern, Tom Shelf, dude. I will hook you up with some people if you're really interested. Because he told me one of the problems he was having was like he'd go to an MMA gym, but he wasn't finding like good. They didn't have workout partners for his size. You know what I mean? So he said it was kind of an issue for him. I was like, dude, man, he's like, I just kind of want to talk to somebody about the rules. I was like, dude, just take them down and beat the shit out of them. That's the rule number one. Grounded pound.
Yeah, especially if you wrestled, the positioning that you'll be able to achieve on people, and then the shots will open up. You know, I got multiple guys. Like our MMA program's growing. I probably have 20 guys in there rotating in, right. Multiple bigger guys. We're just growing, man. People see what we're doing, and I'm not gonna. I'm not talking shit, but we're definitely the best gym in the Southwest Oklahoma. We've got the best grapplers, obviously the best fighters. Me, you know, Tom. And as far as the Southwest Oklahoma, I just don't see a better gym. We've got 200 plus members. We're not a rinky-dink academy. We have. We're affiliated with Ricardo Cavalcante, old school black belt from the Gracies, and the Vibe, Kevin Williams up in the city. Another crazy, insane black belt. So we've got the situation on lock here. We built it from the ground up, and Alpha MMA is putting ourselves on the map. We're competing in everything. We just won the Naga Adult Nogi as a team unit, and we got the most points of all the most medals and everything. Right. And didn't even take a lot of competitors down. We just handle biz. We have a very good program. A lot of top heavy pressure and old school, new school styles. We're leg lockers. We do it all. So very proud of the academy and what we got going on. We're making big waves. So
right. Hold on, I'll show you something. You just made me think of something. I was gonna put it on before you got here, but I forgot it. My plan was when you showed up, I was gonna have this on, dog.
Oh yeah, I got some geese.
Yeah, my Rob, you remember Rob? You met him last time.
Laws, yeah.
Yeah. He let me hold on to one. Wanted to get into this. I've been to a couple of combatives in the army, and it's all based off like a uniform, right?
Yeah.
So so really like jujitsu, like no-gi jujitsu. I don't know, man. I'm not saying I don't like it, you know what I mean? But I just wasn't comfortable, with it. So I figured I'd give this a try as well.
Yeah. What I mean? Oh man, it's fun. Just it's a lot slower because of the friction.
Right.
Like whenever you don't have all this friction on, you can explode out of stuff, because it's skin on skin. So you get slippery, you can be able to move, be a lot more explosive, kind of like wrestling. But with that, it slows it down a lot. So you can think a little bit more. But there's also a lot more options, because you have grips now. I can choke you with your lapel. I can choke you with the sleeve. I can choke you with the belt. You can choke them with anything. But I'm a 2-stripe purple belt. I've done the gi for many years. I've been taking a break on it for the past couple of years for my MMA. The friction, and I used to play baseball a lot, so my elbows are trashed kind of from that, So whenever I'm in that gi and that friction starts twisting around, it kind of tears my elbows. So I just took a break off of it because I need these to punch.
Right.
So I always tell people, I'm like, when I'm an old man, I was like, I'll get back to the gi. And they're like, you're already old, man. I'm like, hey, fuck you.
Shit, what are you, 40?
Yeah, I just turned 40, yeah. And they just made me get, for this fight alone, I had to get an MRI, a cardiac stress test, a cardiac echo, a dilated ophthalmology exam, blood work, and a physical.
What's the stress
That's
test?
where they hook you up like your Ivan Drago to a treadmill.
Yeah.
They put they put about 20 patches all over your chest, and they make you walk on a treadmill every 3 minutes. It'll beep, and it'll increase in speed, and the elevation will increase. And I was in such good shape. I came in at like a resting heartbeat of 50, which is like, Olympic athlete level.
Right.
And she kept picking it up, and she's like, honestly, we never used this treadmill. She's like, no one's ever healthy enough to use the treadmill to take the test. We have to inject them with a medicine that raises their heart rate. And I was like, well, that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
And so like, she's like, so we kept going, and she kept bumping it up, and we're about 15 minutes in. She's like, man, you're in good shape, because we're on like level 4 now, and I'm still haven't even hit 100 on the heart rate. So but we finally get it up to 160 beats per minute after about almost 20 minutes of me running on that treadmill. And we hit it, then 2 minutes calm down, and they just take your blood pressure every so often. They monitor your heart, make sure everything's perfect, you have no pain. And before that, I had to get the echo test, and that's like an ultrasound of your heart. So I actually got to see my heart on a monitor, all the valves opening, closing, shutting. And I'm just really blessed that, all this training and everything has helped me maintain like the most extreme, elevated, like perfect levels of health. Like she was like, your blood pressure couldn't be more perfect. She's like, your heartbeat's perfect. Everything is good. And as far as my blood work and my physical and everything's tip top. Like, when I first walked in there, she was like, resting heartbeat of 50. She's like, if you were obese at your age, I'd have to take you in and put you an emergency pacemaker in right now. She's like, this is crazy. Damn. And I was like, well, I work out every day. I'm push myself to the max. And I stay ready. I don't take breaks. There's no time for breaks at 40. So I'm very satisfied with what I've got going on. I know that what I'm doing is working. And I'm not just beating myself up for no reason. That my inside is as healthy as my outside. So that was like a big plus to know. I think everybody should definitely go get all their blood levels checked, their organs, everything. Because you don't want to be 50 and find out all this stuff out where you could have been preventing things or making changes beforehand. So I get everything tested, man. I get all my hormone levels tested, organs. Everything. I think it's just very important to know what you're dealing with so that you can have longevity in life. Because I don't just want to fight for a long time. I want to live for a long time. I want to be there for my son, for my guys. Because after my career is over, I'm still going to be in the sport. It's a part of me. It's my identity. So I'm going to stay in this genre and keep coaching my guys and elevating them and showing them the way that. Because people see what I do, they see it works. My young kids, they see what I do works, so they listen to me without a doubt. If I'm like, hey man, you don't need to be eating that, you don't need to be working out like that. We need to have a recovery day, or we need to do this, we need to do that, and they'll shut up and listen, as opposed to just thinking that they know it all. Because if you're out here winning and you're handling business and you're still whooping their ass, they're definitely going to listen to you.
Right.
But if you're out here fucking off and you're losing, they're going to lose respect for you, and they're not going to listen to you. So it's good to like I tell everybody, just like with your own kids, like they'll do what you do, not what you say. Yeah. So you got to show them by leading by example. If I tell my son like, don't do this, don't do that, but I'm doing it, he ain't going to listen to me, So
yeah.
Me and my girlfriend had this discussion the other day. Like, I'm not condoning kids cursing or anything, but one of the kids said hell, and I was like, well, we cuss a lot around them, so we can't really jump on them too bad because they're gonna do what we do, not what we say. Even though you want to give them the best advice, and I was like, but if you're gonna tell them to do something, you gotta lead by example. I was like, so it's kind of our bad in that. Obviously, still can't say it, but. That just let me be mentally aware of, maybe I need to chill out on it. If I want to demand something from them, I need to show them by example that it's not acceptable. You know what I mean? Same thing with your students, just like on the wrestling program. I know a lot of coaches like to get out there and show the kids they still got it, so they can be like, hey, I'm not just talking out of my ass. I want you to know this is why I'm telling you to do it. Things as simple as jumping rope, things that people are like, oh, I see them, I get discouraged. And I'm like, hey man, I understand that, you don't jump rope really well. And you see everybody out here making it look easy and all that. I was like, but we do these things for a reason. These aren't just random exercises. I was like, this is going to help you with your footwork. This is going to help you stay on the balls of your feet while we're moving around. This is going to help your timing. And, because like we see, I just some guys come in there this week and they're like, can you just show me how to jump rope? And I'm like, well, here's the first tip. The rope is only 1/4 inch wide. So you don't have to jump more than a 1/2 inch to clear that, because you'll see these guys jumping, like they're doing box jumps. I'm like, you're going to gas yourself out, and that's why you're breathing so hard. I was like, the rope is only this big. You just have to jump a little bit higher, So like it's all technique, bend your knees, that'll elevate your heels. And now we've created a spring. So we're not jumping with our calves the whole time. We just created 2 different springs, one at our ankles, one at our knees. And now we can just hop and just get into that rhythm of that timing. I was like, we're not just jumping rope to make you tired or to kill time. I was like, all of this shit is going to come together in the end, all the jumping rope, all the hills, all of the kettlebells, like even the ladder drills. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this shit's just filler. You're just trying to waste my time. My coach, Tom Showoff, is, world-class athlete, still does all the basic exercises, still makes me do all the basic exercises, and then explains to me why we do it, and that's one of the things I started doing while I coach, is explaining why we're doing the jump rope rounds, explaining why, so that they can understand, like, this is a whole of training. It's like we're not just punching and kicking each other. These are simple exercises that will help improve all the other aspects of that. So it's a crazy journey. Really enjoying the coaching aspect of it. I feel finally I'm at a place where I have enough knowledge where I feel comfortable passing it down and not looking like a jackass, or having my other my other seniority coaches. They can be like, trust in me that I know what I'm doing to tell these young kids what to do. So I got coached class tonight. As a matter of fact, we had about 10 or 12 on the mat, most of them new guys. So I'm looking to get all of my guys together for a big, we got fights coming up, ECF, Roll in the Cage in September, another Rage in the Cage in September in Shawnee, OSU territory. So I got a couple of young up-and-coming wrestlers from out of Cache. One dude named Dre, one named Aiden. I'm really looking forward to their first fights. And trying to get them on some bigger shows. Like, I try to guide them into places in the way that I wish somebody had done me. Like, put them in that big fancy show with the fireworks going off and the walkouts and the TV interviews. Like, I want them to live it up. Things are a lot different than when I started, so it's cool to be able to help guide these young kids and be like, I'm going to get you the best fights possible, the ones that make the most sense, and let you feel like a superstar, because that's why that's part of it. Like, it's cool to embrace the anxiety and the fear, but it's also cool to embrace that moment of like, yo, I feel like a superstar. I get to come out and fireworks are like it's the WWE shooting right beside me, and I'm walking down the big catwalk, getting in the cage of the Titantron with my picture on it, and all of that is like, it's an accumulation of the feelings. The fear and the anxiety is definitely a big part of it. And then after it's over, the glory or the sadness of the loss, and you just have to take it all in. It's like my coach says, the highest the highs and the lowest the lows. As you know, as a wrestler, combat sports, it's always like that, because your ego is on the line, all that hard work, all those blood, sweat, tears, like, people are out here talking like, oh, I'm grinding on this and that. I'm like, well, what you're grinding on and what isn't a blood, sweat, and tears type of grind, people are like, oh, I'm in the music industry, I'm trying to do this, do that. I'm like, well, what we're doing is a little bit different, man. I'm like, there's really actual blood, sweat, and tears in what we're doing. You will cry, you will bleed, and you are definitely going to sweat. So, and your ass is on the line. And with, how these young kids' egos are so fragile these days, it's cool to see a few of the warriors bust out, old school style, and let you know that there's still hope for the future generations. There's still a few warriors left. And that's what we're trying to do, breed mentally competent savages. You know what I mean? Controlled chaos by being a calculated savage, if that even makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. As far going back to your training though, you pretty much the same coaches this go around you did last time.
Yeah, Tom Showoff's my main coach. Shelby Anderson's my grappling coach, and I travel down to Amped. They just opened a new gym. It's at the Sykes Center Mall. They have a killer kids wrestling program as well. So if you're in the Falls area, go hit up Amped. It's my home away from home. He brought my brother Bubba into the sport, 19, 20 years ago, and he's a super solid coach. And I like to go down there and pick his brain because he's different than my coaches, and he'll give me different stuff that I'm not getting over here. So I like to cross train down there because I fight a lot of the Oklahoma boys, and I don't want to eliminate a lot of opponents by making too many buddies. So, I've got a pretty big name right now. So I just got hit up by old boy Travis Quintero. He's 7-0. Undefeated, hasn't fought in a few years though, and he wants to get a fight in, so he's a possible future fight, maybe a title defense. I might go back up to 155. I really enjoyed bulking up and not having to cut as much as I'm having to cut now, because I have the frame to compete at that weight as well. Right. So who knows what the future holds, man.
As far as like when you first started MMA, like, was it easier to shed the weight, I should say, than it is now?
Now it's way easier just because I have the knowledge and the know-how. Like, I cut 21 pounds because I fought in 3 different weight classes so far. I fought 135, 45, 55. I started out at 55 because I was a 200-pound man at one point, and then I got into the gym and was trying to make 186 pounds to fight in the tough man contest, the lower division, because back in the day there was only 2 classes, 186 and below and 186 to like 500. Right. So I was like, I definitely want to be below 186. So I just started training, and about 3 or 4 months went by, and I was like 155 pounds. I went to weigh in. I didn't even have a scale at the time. That's how rookie I was, and just stepped on the scale. I was like, God damn, I'm like 160 pounds, 155 pounds. And I was like, well, then that year in the tough man, the commission made them break it up. So you had 160 and under, 161 to 186, then 186 to 500. Right. So I was like, shit, I'll cut 5 pounds, make the 155 mark. And
you say 186 to 500?
Yes, sir. It's the biggest weight class there is. Yeah.
Jesus.
It's ridiculous. It's considered semi-pro boxing. So if you do a tough man, you will no longer be allowed to do amateur boxing. So
oh wow, I didn't know that.
So depending on the kid that I got, like if you want to box, I'll tell him, it's probably not a good idea. But if you're just wanting to see how you perform under the lights because you want to do MMA or kickboxing or whatever, go ahead and try it out. Right. But yeah, I had to cut 21 pounds the day of and 6 pounds the night before because I fought at 135 pounds. Made that pretty easily because I had 3 months to do it. Well, then 28 days later, they offered me another fight, and I took it. And to be on the card with my brother Bubba for the first time, I was like, this might not ever happen. This is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. So me ballooning back up to 150 after the fight, 155, 160, and then having to come right back to 135, I did take those rubbing alcohol Epsom salt baths where you pour like half a pound to get the hottest water you can get in your tub, pour about 3 quarts of freaking green rubbing alcohol in there and that Epsom salt, and I had to take 3 of those 20 minutes in, 20 minutes out, and they'll tuck you with towels and blankets and comforters, and you'll just lay there suffering. Somebody has to pull you out of the water. Something happens in that water. It's like a chemical reaction. You start sweating in the water, and you're so exhausted by the 20 minutes. They have to pull you out, and then they lay you on the ground, tuck you in, and I had to do that like 3 times. 2 times the night before to cut the 6 pounds, and then 3 times the day of to make the weight. And then I gassed out in the 3rd round. Went out first round, won the first round, got my ass kicked the 2nd round, 3rd round, so gassed. And I was like, it was almost an even round, the 3rd round. I just had to spin out, land on top, and I probably could have possibly won the round and won the fight. But I was just so tired, so gassed. Right. And that's when I was like, I'm not cutting this weight no more. It taught me one of the biggest lessons. Like we were talking about earlier, I knew that I'd cut too much, that I was going to probably get tired. And that kid was the kid that I fought is in the UFC now. You know what I mean? He flew in from Damon Blackshear, and he flew in from North Carolina for this fight. They showed up in like a freaking stretch Hummer limo, and we're like in Woodward, a podunk town, fighting at rodeo grounds. I'm like, what did I sign up for here? Like, who is this kid? You know? And he came out and was a very, very skillful fighter. This is probably the most damage I've ever took in a fight. The second round, he just got his hooks in, wound up getting me down, got his hooks in, and he rode my back for 3 minutes, just beating the shit out of me and I just kept trying to. I survived, but I definitely took a lot of freaking damage. But it was one of those fights where it made me feel like, you know, I belong here. I know what I belong. I need to keep making this happen because I'm getting better. And then after that, I broke my hand, and it was a 3-year layoff. Broke it, shattered it into 3 pieces. Training, got it healed a little bit, then broke the one next to it, the carpal next to it, and then broke it again. And then on my other hand, like these other little bones on top, I popped it and it slid down into this little crevice right here. So then when I do that, it would pop back over, and just a lot of. I wasn't training smart. We didn't really have coaching back then. We were just a bunch of fighters here with no coach beating the shit out of each other. Right. So like my whole MMA career was really not me living up to my full potential at all. Like until I met my coach Tom, he's turned my whole career around. Took the skill that I had, improved it, and then gave me a bunch of others. He's introduced me to all my wrestling. He's introduced me to, you know, the super technical pinpoint aspects of striking, you know, like simple little small things that have tweaked my game in such a big way. So I always have nothing but love and respect for my coach Tom. I just couldn't do it without him, straight up. So it's one of my main deals I tell young kids is like find a coach that speaks your language, you know, like find somebody that can like, cause we all think differently. And like, sometimes I'm dumb, like, and he knows that I have to learn through failure sometimes, to where like he can tell me to drill it and tell me to do this, but he knows I got to go in there and get my ass beat by doing the wrong thing sometimes in training before I'm like, okay, this is what I need to implement. This is what I need to do. He just knows, like he can see me moving out there and he'll be like, your back okay? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like kind of stiff or whatever. And he'll pop something somehow. He knows. And I'm just like, oh, damn, how'd you know that? And then I'm moving so much better. Like his IQ is just out of this world. He can just watch you do something and he knows exactly where you're going wrong and like what you need to do. He'll be like, okay, you need to scoot up half an inch. You need to move this foot just slightly over here when you know, don't bring this foot with you when you throw this punch, you know, extend all the way on that. And just like those small things, and they cause such big revelations. You're like, damn, okay, this made such a big difference. Like, and then you're curious, like, what else can he pick apart of mine that I'm doing wrong and make it that much better? Right. So find a coach that speaks your language and stick with them, man, because they'll take you far. Like, individual sport, but it takes a whole fucking team to get you there.
No, 100%. That's invaluable too. You know, to have somebody like that in your corner. I'm assuming he's gonna be corny.
He's actually got some family function. He won't be here this time. He's got to go up to Michigan. But my brother Bubba will be there. My grappling coach will be there. So he's given me everything that I need. So I can't always rely. You know, we all have our own lives. I can't always rely on people to be there. Just like I said, nothing ever goes perfectly. Right. So, but I don't let that get in my way. I'm still gonna go out there and make him proud and do what we've trained to do, regardless.
Yeah. Tickets.
I'll have tickets till tomorrow. I may try to hang on to some Saturday. So the day before the fight, I've got some VIP individual tickets left. I think I have one table left, maybe. General admission $35, ringside $45, VIP $85. You get beer tickets. You get some food. You have a waitress, so you don't have to get up and stand in those long lines. Right. So yeah, man, check me out. Hit me up. If you can't buy them from me, you can go to stubwire.com, Rage in the Cage 94, and just click my name, Tyson Southern, when you check out, so I get credit.
Right. Cool.
Trying to make some money.
One thing I was going to add, you brought it up earlier. the testing. Like I meant to ask you this earlier, but we got sidetracked something else. But the testing to get your, your organs, blood tests, and all that stuff. If you was somebody that was starting over, right? They're like, you know what? I've listened to Tyson Southern. He's able to do this at his age right now. He's making it look easy, but he had to start somewhere, right? Yeah. And you got somebody that is, I would say, our age, right? 40. They want to start over right now. And the first thing they probably want to do is go to a doctor and get their health checked, right?
Yes,
so they can know how far they can push themselves.
Yes, sir.
What would your advice be for them? What would they need to go talk to the doctor about?
I would just say, look, I'm interested in fighting. I'd like to get a full physical, make sure that my body's in tip-top shape, and definitely get some blood work done to make sure, my blood pressure is good, my organs are good, even get your hormone levels tested. We have a guy who is, I think he's 40, and he's about to try to take his first fight at our gym. He's doing private lessons and, trying to do everything he can do based around his schedule, because a lot of people, it's a bucket list, and fighting is something that's in all of us. It's not something that, like you got to learn to play basketball, you got to learn to play baseball, you got to learn sports, but fighting is a natural human instinct that we all have. So I think there's a fighter in all of us deep down. And, especially as men, we want to pull that primal instinct out. We are in a soft society today where we don't get to pull that savage out, like we used to back in the day. We had to go fucking wrestle a bear to save your family or, some shit like that. Right. Or, so, a lot of you men, especially young men, have all this pent up savage inside of us where we don't get to release it. So, a lot of people that have that bucket list. I have people all the time telling me like, I can't believe you're 40 doing this. I'm like, hey man, we all have a fighter in us. Go get your health checked. Yeah. Make sure you're capable of doing it, and then go full blast at it. This isn't a sport where there's going to be a lot of yes men. I tell all my guys like, you're not ready. And try not to be a dick about it and be like, you fucking suck. I'm like, hey, we got work to do before we can put you in there with somebody that's ready to take your head off, But yeah, just go to your doctor, or you can go to, anywhere just to get some blood work done and just say, look, it's not very expensive to get blood work done. I think it's like $150, $200. You can go and just get your whole panel done, see where you're at, see what your cholesterol is, see where everything is. So you can be like, okay, let me get in shape and get all these up if they're down. And then we'll start tackling the combat aspect of it, but training and for losing weight and training for skill is two different things,
right?
So you get guys come in, and I've got multiple kids that came in this week, and we were doing technical striking. They're like, well, I want to do MMA, I don't want to just kickbox. I'm like, this is all you're learning different parts, and they all come together. So right. I understand what you want is not what you envisioned is probably not going to happen. Right. Your coach is going to say, all right, well, we're going to work these different aspects. We'll slowly start combining them together. Right. Because you got to teach things one at a time. I can't teach striking and wrestling at the same time. You can only absorb so much. So one day we learn the kickboxing aspect. One day we'll learn cage work. One day we'll learn this. And then one day we'll maybe put it all together, in the sparring day. But, yeah, it's just make sure that you're healthy. It's not a sport you want to come in half cocked. Right. And just go check yourself out. Make sure you're healthy. Go, they'll do a simple physical, check your knees, check your elbows, your shoulders. Make sure you don't, because you don't want to rush into this sport and then blow your shoulder out or blow your knee out. I've seen it a bunch of times, and at 40, that's almost a career ender. Like if I was to blow my ACL out or, something like that where, you're talking about 6 months recovery, and then that's before you can even get back into shape. Right. So you're talking about almost a year out in some cases. So you got to take care of your body. You got to stay healthy. My coaches, because I usually just go full blast crazy all the time. And my coaches have slowed me down. They are like, hey, man, because I went on like a 2-year streak before I broke my hand. I was fighting all the time, never took a day off. I fight Saturday, I'm back in the gym Monday. And then I broke my hand, and I was telling my coach, I'm like, I'll be back in the gym Monday. He's like, no, you're not allowed back in the gym for at least 3 weeks. He's like, you've been going hard for 2 years nonstop. He's like, I need you to recover. And he's like, and we're going to start implementing more recovery days into your training program because I don't want you going balls to the wall 24/7. Like even my sprints, I do the Cameron Hill sprints, and he's even changed those up just based on for recovery. He's like, in a fight, we're not going balls out 24/7. He's like, so I want you to run up the hill, take 10 seconds, walk back down, then burst back up. Because before I was just going 30 straight, like going ham, 30 minutes nonstop killer cardio. And he's like, well, it's not really realistic for what we're doing, so I'm gonna switch it up. It's just the knowledge that he has, to take something that I was doing and make it better. And I really appreciate that. And I take this in as myself because everything I learn, I pass it down to my kids. Like he gives me drills, he gives me things and explains them to me. I go over them and I'm like, okay, I see where this is helping me. I see it makes sense. Now I can pass this knowledge down. It's just the martial arts way, father to son, even though they may not be your son, but, generationally in the gym, the coach is the authority figure, and then you have your student. Right. So it's still like a father-son type deal, or daughter, because I have female fighters as well. So,
speaking of father-son, last time I talked, or the time before last, I believe you said your son was starting to train a little bit.
Yeah. He's been training since he was about 5. He's a 4-stripe gray and white belt. Just recently, his striking is picked up. He just got more interested in it. I don't know if it's because he's getting older, about to hit puberty or whatever, but it's getting to the point where I'm starting to see improvement, and that's just a big overall makes me super happy to see, like over time, like even though he was a naturally gifted fighter or naturally gifted, coordinated in the beginning, and now I'm like, oh, I see that all of our work is finally paying off, because I have a young woman in my class, or a young girl, and she just picked it up so natural. Right. She cracks harder than all the boys. Her kicks are amazing, and she's like 11 or 12, and she's already asked me for a fight. And then she's that good. She just picked it up and just hits so hard. Like she makes the mitts pop like she's a man. I see, like, when we're over there in my class on Tuesdays, she starts cracking, like people from around the gym are like, what the hell is going on over there? And sure. And to see, obviously my son, you expect like, oh, he's just gonna get in there, he's gonna be badass, right. Like me, but he wasn't like that. And now seeing that training and nonstop consistency is paying off, and his kicks are getting cleaner, his punches are getting better, and I'm just like, all right, we can make, like they say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Right. So seeing his hard work and seeing him now catching up is like, it's just overwhelmingly such a great achievement for me to be a father and watch my son get these gains, physically, and watch his skills grow. It's such an honor to be a part of it, to know that I'm having a hand in that. I don't do his grappling coaching. I do here and there, but mostly I let his coaches handle that, because I think it's important for kids to learn to take instruction from other people as
100%, well. 100%.
So they learn to have respect for everybody, not just your parent telling you what to do, and have faith in the people that are teaching you. So big shout out to my son Stone. I love you very much. Big part of my life. I can't wait to wrap that belt around him and put it up in his room this Saturday. That's pretty much what I'm doing it for. I just want to show my son, like, even it doesn't matter where you're at in your life. If you just work hard, train hard, and just keep grinding for your dream, it's going to happen. He's going to do it because he's going to see me do it, not because I'm telling him, go for your dream, son, do this. I'm going to, hey, I'm going to show you every step of the way, so you're going to have the blueprint. So when your time comes, you're going to know exactly what to do. It's going to be a lot of hard work, that blood, sweat, and tear mentality, regardless if it's fighting. I don't care if he wants to be a fighter or if he wants to be, anything in life. I just want him to know that, you try hard no matter what you're doing. You give it your all no matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're taking out the trash or mowing the yard, when I mow my yard, I try to make it look like, Bedrock Nursery did it. I put the cross cut lines like it's a baseball field.
Right.
I'm like, we're gonna put pride in everything that we do, son.
Right.
Like, no matter even if it's the small things, because that way you'll succeed in everything you do if you're giving it your all. So, yeah, shout out to my son. I love him, and I can't wait to win this belt and put it up in his room so he can tell everyone his dad's a champion.
What grade's he in?
He's going into 6th grade.
Going into 6th grade.
He goes to Bishop, so they don't have a junior high, but they're supposed to be building one across the street.
Where you live at?
Country Club Heights in Lawton. It's kind of like on the west side by the Votech.
Dude, I got a plan for you right now. Move to Elgin, brother. Move to Elgin, bro. I need your boy on my wrestling team, dog. He's only in 6th grade. I can't get in trouble for saying that. I don't think, anyway. I have to double check before I put that out.
Yeah, he was saying he wanted to wrestle, and I was like, well, you better get ready to work, son, because it's a working ass
Matter
job.
of fact, bro, that house right next to mine's over here is coming over for sale.
Oh, yeah.
People just moved out there because they want to sell it.
We'll have to check that out.
I got you a place, dog. I got you figured out, man.
Oh, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah. Nah, man. My boy Jamel, he was renting the house, and then they I guess the owners decided they wanted to sell it, so he moved further in town, I should say.
Yeah.
But but anyway, brother, it's been a little bit over an hour, dude. You got any shout outs or anything you want to go, or?
Yeah, Lawton bail bonds. If you're in the shady and you get your dumb ass in trouble, give Savannah a call. She'll come and get you out. Red Dirt Reloaded. I'm doing an after party, victory party, August 12th, because we know Swisher's going to win. It starts at 4. I'll have probably some merch available, and just come hang out and kick it and celebrate. Who else do we got? Goose Reaper, Civil Savage, Lawton Down. I think that's it, man.
Cool, brother.